Well guys, here we are back at the brewery drill grinder. I'm about to make some sparks, and after that I'll zoom you in for a bit of a close-up of the action. One thing I do like about this machine, it's got a beautiful motor, it's well balanced, it comes up to speed very, very well, and I haven't even balanced the grinding wheel and it does a fantastic job. So a few sparks and then we'll zoom you in. Well, I can't believe how well that's holding focus at that sort of magnification, but this will give you a little bit of a close-up of the action. I'll turn it back on and take another couple of swipes at the drill. Back it out, that job's done. It's a complex piece of machinery that's put together in England, very, very well built. This unit is probably about 35, 40 years old. It's one of their early Z25s, only goes up to 1-inch model. I'll run you through a bit of operation from this side and then we'll come in from the back and show you some more of the operation. To set the machine up, you put a drill in the chuck, and this one is a stub drill, so it's not long enough, but this is a setting gauge that goes through the spindle here and up to the back of a jobber drill or a taper shank drill, and that centralises the back of the drill in a bid to get both edges as even as possible. So it's quite an innovation, I thought. This is a grinding wheel dresser that goes into the chuck, and the little nib in the front there dresses the wheel off when necessary. Now, to set the machine up for grinding the drill, you put the setting gauge into the slot in the backing plate, and that wasn't what was happening when I had the wrong cam in there. For some reason there's two one hump cams and I had the wrong one, and the little drive hole for the driving pin is about 90 degrees out, and that's why I had to set it up differently. But now it's setting up as per the book. Drop the setting gauge in, you bring the setting plate around, and it's marked off in divisions of 1/16 of an inch across there. Yes, it is British. So that's a hardfish drill, and it's about halfway along the scale. So that gives you your stick out of the chuck, and it also indexes the cutting edge in the correct position in relation to the cam. So setup is fairly easy that way. This lever here controls how much the cam affects the position of the chuck. The more you go around the scale, the further the projection of the chuck for bigger drills. So you dial up the diameter of the drill that you're using in there. Very similar to a Potts drill grinding jig, where you put your drill shank in between the setting gauge, and that changes the protrusion of the drill past the pivoting point. So this little roller is worked on by that cam when you take the setting gauge out as the tool rotates, and that forces the holder of the chuck forward into the wheel. Now you've got two controls over the back, which we'll see shortly. You can come in half a thou at a time if you want to. It was once a prince of a machine, but now it's just a filthy old beast. It's absolutely worn out, but it still does quite a reasonable job. Okay, I'll move the camera around now. Okay, now we're in from the other aspect of the Brearley, and at the moment I've pulled a release lever in here. It stops the sidewards rocking of the machine and it only gives you a pecking action. I'll give a demo. As I turn the handle, the cam plate just moves in and out, and I scratch my head, what the hell would you want to do that for? That's for regrinding step drills. You swing the head around in line with the edge of the wheel, and it just picks in and out on the wheel straight, so you can resharpen the cutting edges. So pull that back out, and that re-engages the sideways movement. Down here you have a graduated scale where you set the angle of the cutting edge up. There is a hole through here that a guide pin drops into at 90 degrees. And the 2 crank handles. This controls your depth of grinding, and this moves the wheel sideways. So very well built. The electrics are an absolute overkill for workshop health and safety. You've got an on-off contactor, you've got a kick switch to stop it down the bottom, a contactor box with the electrics, and then another contactor underneath that. Like, that is just baloney. Especially now we've got earth leakage detectors. Like, what the hell is all of that crap about? But that's the operation of the Brearley. Does a very, very good job. Even though I've only got a 46 grit wheel in there. I tried to put a 60 grit on earlier, but I needed a slightly thicker spacer or a big blotter for it to work, which I don't have. So that's a bit of an overview. We'll pull the tool out and have a look. There you are. That's a look at the cutting edge. Nice and bright. And, oh, it's hard to get it in the light. Move the light, Bernie. Chisel edge angle is correct. It does a wonderful job. I find machine ground drills just perform so damn well. Doesn't make a difference, too bloody right it does. Bye for now. Please like and subscribe.